Hello, hello, everyone. How are you? Welcome to Dip in Time and Sparkle Sanctuary. We are really glad to be here. I'm going to add her, so she's going to be on the side there. So you'll see a hand go. How is everyone doing? As you come in, please hit the like button. If this is something of interest for you, please consider subscribing to Dip in Time and Sparkle Sanctuary. Doesn't cost anything, and we are full of different things. Hello, Tammy. How are you? Tammy says, hi. Hey, Rebecca and Rhonda. I made it tonight. Woohoo!
Hi, Tammy.
Okay, I am going to remove this. I'm going to make this bigger. You've made some really good progress on your painting.
I'm still only on the first row.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. That's no big deal.
So I believe at this point I'm supposed to be, 3 rows in. I'm invited into the 4, so it's all right.
Yeah, I'm not there, so. Tammy says, I am good. How are you both doing? I'm good. It's just been very busy since Friday. And a little intense. So I think tonight's a good night to have a good conversation about complex PTSD and how things can show up when you least expect it. How are you doing, Rebecca?
So there are, when you have CPTSD, like certain things and weird things can trigger your fight or flight response and things like that. And everything is fine. I just want to preface this by saying everything is fine. But I was in a quasi car accident over the weekend, and I've learned the last 3 nights I've had nightmares, and I haven't had nightmares in a while. So I realized that just between this and some of the other stuff going on, it's like triggering this anxiety in me that's causing me to lose sleep and have bad dreams. And I recognize it for what it is. And so I actually, once I finally did last night, I was actually able to go back to sleep and was able to kind of talk myself through it. But sometimes you just don't know, like you don't realize, as much as I've known about this stuff and as much as I deal with this stuff, it took me like the 3rd night of not sleeping to go, oh, this is what's happening.
I'm chuckling because I'm acknowledging you. So true. So true. And I am sorry to hear that is what is currently going on. I'm glad you were able to identify
and nobody was hurt. It just is going to cost me a fortune is all.
Yeah, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. So before I get into what has me, I want to show you what I've been able to get done since we last talked. So I decided, just because, is I finished this little section that I was working on last week. And then I was like, you know what? I want to save the middle part of this to last. So I've been rotating my canvas. And then I rotated it again on the other side. And now I'm having doubts about if that was really what I wanted to do, because now I'm going to have to lean over the sections that I've completed to get to the middle. Not sure. But I think I'm going to work on this little section down here tonight. So for me, Eric's gone back to school. He is doing post-secondary. So he's been busy with that. And then my brother, now let me preface this. And I won't go into too many details. But my brother, when my mom and dad separated, let me back up. There's 5 of us in the family. I'm the youngest. 2 sisters, 2 brothers. One brother decided to go back with my dad to Ontario. All the rest of us stayed with my mom. Well, the one that went to Ontario, we chit-chat. We got back in touch when I was like 19. And it's kind of been going from there. So we're not super close, and there is definitely trauma that I am going through and processing. Well, he had told us that, or he told me that he was planning on coming out to visit. Second week of September, third week of September, but never really solidified when he was coming. So Friday night, while I'm doing my fiction book club with trauma survivors, my doorbell goes ding, 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 ding. And I'm like, what? Whoa, what's going on? He's in town with his daughter, who I've never met. And they came to visit at like 8:30. And they didn't leave until like 11.
Oh my goodness.
And we hadn't had supper yet. Glenn had been out at a Ball Diamond. Eric was in his room with his headphones on. And I'm getting anxiety, and I'm like, oh my God, what time are you going to be home, hon? Like, I know things are going to be fine, but I'm like, oh my God. But it wasn't until they were leaving that we discovered that they didn't have a place to stay. They hadn't booked a hotel room. Our house is not set up for guests. We normally don't get very many guests. The spare bedroom that we have is the room I'm in with Dipper. And the air mattress that we did have had a hole in it, so we got rid of it.
Oh.
Linda says, hi all, can't stay. Just popped in to say hi and we'll catch the replay. Absolutely.
Hello.
So very, very unexpected. I do not do well with surprises. I like doing surprises. I don't like getting surprises. Anyways, we were like, I'm sorry, we don't have anything set up. I don't know where anything is in our house. You also have to remember, like in our house, in our living room, we have chairs. We do not have a couch in our household. We used to have one, but we don't have one. So it's not like we could even say like, sleep on the couch. There is no couch. So anyways, that was Friday. Saturday was, I'm like, I'm sorry, Saturday, I can't do Saturday. We're having dinner over at my daughter's house Sunday night. Perhaps you can join us there. So we spent from 6 to 10 with them on Sunday night. Then Monday, I said, yeah, well, you know what? Yeah, I can hang out with you on Monday, like noon. I have a call in the evening. They were here for 6 hours. And it was just me and them. Eric was upstairs. And I have to say, I've been able to work my stamina back up to like 3 hours good straight conversation. And then I get really tired. But they were here for 6 hours yesterday. And I was like, oh my God. I like you, but I don't want to sound like I'm ungrateful, but I need you to go. And then at 9:30 this morning, I started my drawing class. So, and I did not sleep very well. Hey, Rochelle, how are you doing? Rochelle, this is Rebecca, Sparkle Sanctuary.
Hi.
Rebecca, this is Rochelle. Bling it up. You guys would love each other. The way you guys bling stuff up. I'm just going to bow. So, needless to say, it's been a very intense weekend. He has been going around and just saying hi to everybody in our family. And there's other stuff that is currently going on with my family. So I'm just like, oh my God, I love you. But so they are traveling because they didn't fly, they drove.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, oh God, I hope you're not expecting me to like entertain you this whole time while you're here, because they're not leaving until Friday. So they're actually here like a whole week, which I was not expecting. So that's kind of where I am at. I'm tired, but I'm also like absolutely wired body-wise. My whole body's just like. So, but I'm glad to be sitting here and just having this conversation with you guys. Now, I believe, Rebecca, that we were going to talk about symptoms of complex PTSD. Am I thinking straight?
I think so.
Okay. I just need to pull up that document. So I will put a link to the document in chat. For those that are new, we are talking about complex PTSD, which is different than PTSD. So while I'm
also talking as people with experience in it and some mental health background, but we're not saying we're experts, and we're definitely not giving mental health guidance or support for anybody.
Exactly. This is more of a peer-to-peer conversation. I have
So please don't take anything we take from this as direct advice. You know, if you suspect you have complex PTSD, please speak with a therapist.
And if you are familiar with this, by all means, do share it if you are comfortable. If you are curious about it, absolutely have. Well, this is going to be an open, honest, non-judgmental, safe space. Okay. I found the link. And when I did click on it, it actually gave me something else, of course. So Rebecca, how does complex PTSD differ than PTSD from your understanding?
You mean in the symptoms?
Just in general definition.
Oh, so PTSD is a traumatic. It is an effect to your psyche based on a single traumatic event, and complex PTSD is based on repeated traumatic events perpetrated over a period of time.
That it would be my understanding as well. So we did find here's a link. Yeah, Tammy's like, Rhonda, unlike you, I don't like surprises. I don't.
So I don't really like surprises either, but mine is more because I feel like if I know something big is coming, then my anxiety gets overwhelmed with the anticipation of whether or not it's going to be good or bad based on my CPTSD. And I don't mind surprises if they're good and I don't know that they're coming. If that makes sense.
Yes, it does make sense. So let me preface because I do like surprises as well when it's from people I am comfortable around, I'm comfortable with. We've also, in our family, we've also made a distinction between surprises versus secrets. We don't have secrets in our family. For me, secrets have a connotation of obligation, bad.
Alter your motive.
Yeah. So in our house, we have secrets. Secrets are with an intention of good, to make someone else happy, to do appreciation, that kind of thing.
I think you meant to say surprises.
What did I say?
You said secrets that time.
Sorry. Oh, yeah, thank you. For example, that's kind of where my brain is right now. I'm just like,
Nope, but see, I'm listening.
And that's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, so I don't, secrets are not a good thing. Surprises are with an intention of good.
Yes.
Okay. When
a surprise should be like a birthday party, or like a gift for Christmas. It should not be something that causes you stress and anxiety.
Right. So a surprise is also geared towards the individual who you are planning it for. So if they don't like heights, you don't make a surprise where you're going to be climbing over a high wire.
Agreed.
Right? It's geared towards that individual, what their preferences are like, things they like, areas that they like, things that they're comfortable with, which is huge. Anyways, so when we're talking about complex PTSD, there are 17 symptoms. I'm just going to look at the chat here. Tammy says, like surprises, but not like the ones that change my life or daily routines. Yeah, I can understand that. When I'm planning on doing something and a surprise unexpectedly comes and it throws me off, I have a hard time trying to re-regulate, which is where I was Friday. So as we're going through this, some of the symptoms. So complex PTSD impacts your mind, body, and emotions. Now, these are 17 symptoms, and they're grouped into 3 different categories. So the first one is emotional and psychological symptoms. The second one we'll look at is behavioral. And the third one is cognitive and physical symptoms. So as we're going through this, we'll look at the emotional. What I'll do is I'll copy and paste this into the chat just so you guys have it. Under the emotional and psychological symptoms, there are 7. Okay. And let me just grab them. I'll put them in and then we'll have a conversation about them. Let me put numbers on them so we know which ones are which. So the first one is persistent sadness or depression. Feeling hopeless and emotionally drained. Now, I'm curious as we go through this, does any of this sound familiar? Or if we have questions? And absolutely feel free to jump in if you at any time, Rebecca. But no obligation. Okay, I got numbers on them now. There we go. So you're with the persistent sadness or depression, there's no hope. It just feels daunting and you are emotionally drained. Your brain is so tired you cannot think. You're kind of can't do this. And you're not feeling anything. You can feel numb. And you're wondering, like, what is going on? I don't understand. How do I get out of this? The second one is difficulty regulating emotions. Kind of where I was going this weekend. That's where you get the intense mood swings or emotional outbreaks. So Friday, that's where I definitely was. And of course, my husband's not home. And I'm trying to have a conversation and I'm trying to figure out what time he's going to be home. And I don't want to rush him. But I'm like, I need you here without saying, I need you here. And for those that are familiar with my interactions, my tone, he knew something was up. And he even said that to me later on. He's like, okay, he's like, how are you doing? You definitely were heightened. I could tell by the way you were talking. And I was trying to be calm. But when you're emotionally activated, you need to try and self-regulate. And it's really hard.
It is, because there's a reason to the CPTSD, but it's the symptoms that you can have, the reactions are not necessarily rational. And so it's
No.
so hard to navigate that, let alone navigate it when other people are around, because they don't understand.
Yes. So adding to this, on Friday, my brother had his daughter phoning me, texting me, phoning and texting my husband, and then my brother was doing it, and I'm like, you need to stop. You're just increasing this, and I'm trying to go the other way. And of course, he doesn't know. Third emotional and physical symptom is chronic anxiety. That is the constant fear, nervousness, or worry. I'm sure, Rebecca, you're not familiar with that one at all.
Hence the nightmares after being in a car accident.
Yeah, I was thinking that correlation there, you know. And I know when I'm in like that, my sleep, like everything, my brain just keeps having these conversations in my head. And I'm trying to go, it's okay. It's okay. Yep.
So
Just notice it.
part of my PTSD is financially based. My ex-husband used to really manipulate me through our financial situation. And so for me, when things come up, like because I work at a school and because of my job, I've only had one paycheck since May. And this car accident, like I said, is going to be quite expensive. The least it's going to cost me is $1,000. The least.
Ouch.
I was told that, I mean, I call it a minor accident. It was, to me, it was minor because I was the only car involved, but my car, like the entire front bumper has to be replaced. And I think my alignment's off, and there may be more to it, and we just don't know. I have to find out. There's scuff marks all down the side of my car. So there are, my doors may need to have work done on them as well. I think there was some scratches on there. And if, my car insurance,
uncertainty stuff.
With utilizing car insurance, it's going to cost me $1,000 deductible.
Yeah.
So if I don't do car insurance, then I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm trying to keep my premiums from going up because I already pay an arm and a leg. But like I said, I've only had one paycheck since May.
Yep.
That I just got a couple weeks ago, and so I don't know. I'm trying to navigate that financial. And so for me, the reason this is so triggering, and of course I didn't find it out until 2:00 this morning after my third nightmare, is going back to that time frame when I was manipulated through finances. And I mean, that was just one fraction of a faction of the experience that I had with my person that caused me to have CPTSD. So, and it sounds so trivial, and it's just so hard to explain. And I've always been able to be fine. There's always been a way. I've always been able to figure it out. I've always been provided for, it's been fine, but that doesn't mean that there's still not this underlying stress of I'm back there where I didn't have any control over what was happening to me financially. And that's where I think my stress comes from when it comes to anything monetary that is upsetting. So
that makes total sense to me.
So I think that's, when I was saying, like, sometimes our CPTSD symptoms they only make sense to us because, you know, other people may not have experienced the same kind of financial abuse that I did. And so when, you know, when you have when you're in a car accident, you're like, oh, well, that, you know, that really stinks, but nobody was hurt and the car is going to be fine and we just need to get it fixed and it's fine. And, you know, may have to, you know, put it on a credit card or borrow our money or whatever until, you know, while we're working on getting it fixed, but it's still doable. It's still fine, you know. But that doesn't, for me, it's a whole other, it's so much deeper than that.
Yeah.
Causing enough to cause nightmares.
Well, of course. And I was waiting. So as you were describing, before you said the word trivial, I'm like, trivial. And I'm like, but it's not trivial. And it could be part of growing up and not having much. It could be part of the next one where we talk about guilt and shame.
Yep.
A deep sense of unworthiness or self-blame. Like, why did I do this? I should have done this. And you start shooting on yourself.
Yep.
Right? Now I'm going to have to take money away from this, and it's going to be selfish. And you just kind of go down these paths.
And it goes so much far beyond that, because also, like, I just keep looking back at the situation and it was completely so what happened is I was driving down the highway, taking my mom to a town nearby was playing The Sound of Music in theater. She loves that movie. So I was taking my mom to that town. And while we were driving down the highway, I saw a pickup truck in front of me go almost like they were going to start going off the road. And I was like, oh no, what are they doing? And I look and he drives over what looks to be a big piece of cardboard. And I was like, that I'm not sure if that's cardboard. I'm not sure what that is. So I slowed down. However, I had just been working on passing somebody on the right side. And I had looked in my rearview mirror and there was somebody behind me, but they were following very close because apparently they were also wanting to pass. And so I couldn't slow down too much and I could not get over into the right lane. And I was in the left lane, and the back tire or something on the pickup truck hit what appeared originally to be a big piece of cardboard. And it turned out it was a big piece of drywall. And good. When it went into the air, it didn't go flat. It actually came like it went like you were like it was on the wall, like it was level to the, like, not, you know, it wasn't flat.
It was vertical. It was not horizontal.
And so I thought, honestly, originally it looked like it was going to hit my windshield. In fact, my mom said the same thing. She was really impressed with how I was able to maneuver out of it, because it originally looked like we were going to be in really big trouble. And it didn't hit my windshield. It hit my front bumper on the driver's side, because I moved over as far right as I could without getting into their lane and slowed down as much as I could without having to slam on my brakes. And so, but my entire front bumper
it's gone.
It hit my car hard enough that it knocked the turn signal out of its socket, if that says anything.
Ooh. Okay. That's wow.
Yeah. So
just a little jarring.
Huh?
Just a little jarring.
Yes. And I mean, you know, on the highway, you don't think drywall could do that much damage, but when you're going at a high speed, it can. So anyway, I am getting it looked at tomorrow, and I'm just trying to find peace with whatever happens, but it was upsetting in the moment. And obviously, you know, my brain still kept, but my brain, as part of you said, you know, what could I have done differently? My brain kept going over, like, I did look in my rearview mirror. I knew I was passing somebody on my right, so I knew I couldn't get over. Could I have slowed down? Should I have been paying a better attention? Should I have not tried to pass that person? You know, like all of those what ifs that will just eat at you, because, like, you can't change it. There's nothing you can do about it. What's done is done. But
you were checking the facts.
But no, like even on my drive home, I was like, I wish I shouldn't have done that. I wish I had done that, you know. And I rationalized myself through it, but that's part of the nightmare, like specifically that I had last night, was me kicking myself for not being more proactive, or the fact that like I have a dash cam that I've had for months that is still not installed in my car. I'm like, I could have, at least used that dash cam footage for my car insurance so that I could prove to them like this literally wasn't my fault, and then I did every maneuver to try to get away from it. I don't know.
We all go through that. We all go through. I got something I haven't installed it yet. We got the kids a doorbell camera for Christmas. And when we were there on Sunday night, they're like, hey, guess what? It's actually installed now. It happens.
That makes me feel a little better.
Yeah. And okay, so then so this weekend also, let's just add stuff to it. This weekend, we discovered where we live in our townhouse complex that somebody has cut through the chain link fence behind our unit block. And there's 13 units. And one of the neighbors has had stuff stolen out of their backyard. Not cool. I don't like it. Anyways, where they cut, the unit has a backdoor camera, but they can't catch who did it because they have a gazebo up. And this unit is like, I need my privacy. You need to help me with this, my safety. And I'm like, well, if you didn't have your gazebo up, we would have had it on camera and we would have been able to see who it was when it occurred. And I'm like, and so the other part of that, though, is their gazebo is not in alignment with the bylaws of how it's actually put up. So, and they refuse to take it and make it movable. So anyways, I'm just like, it is what it is. It's out of my control. What can I do? Okay, it's been notified. They're going to come out and fix the fence. Okay, we're going to need to keep a lookout and make sure there's nobody walk behind our units. So number 5 of emotional and psychological symptoms is flashbacks or intrusive thoughts. So reliving the trauma through unwanted memories. Now, we talked about flashbacks previously. And flashbacks can be different types of flashbacks. They can be emotional, they can be physical, it can be brought on by any of the senses. It could be where you are in location of, and you avoid them.
Yes, and actually when we were talking about it last week, or I think the week before, I can't remember, I hadn't even thought about the fact that for me, because I don't have really good visual, like I can't see things when I close my eyes and try to imagine them. And so I just have feelings, right? But I hadn't even thought I actually get visual flashbacks when I do have those nightmares. And it didn't occur to me until I had these nightmares, because it's been a minute since I had trauma-induced nightmares. So I kind of wanted to bring that up too. Like, even I hadn't even kind of put it in that context, and that's, silly, because that's actually my main way of visually seeing my past. So, but yeah, even nightmares,
And that's
all
so
of that
true.
kind of stuff.
Because there's times where you get them, but you don't make the connection until something else, or somebody mentions something then, or you're talking about it. Like, I'm a talking, processing type of person, and I will be talking and I'll be like, oh, gotcha. So intrusives could be things of the surprise visit on Friday. I can't stop thinking about that, which then also brings up the emotions somatically. And I'm like, okay, body, I need to go have a shower. I need to cry this out. I need to do whatever I need to do in that moment that will work for me. Now, one thing that can occur, which is the next symptom, is dissociation, feeling detached from yourself or reality. It's like, for me, it can be, it's not daydreaming. Daydreaming is different than dissociation. For me, my eyes go unfocused. My mind just goes blank. And everything just feels surreal. Now, when those ones occur, I've gotten to the point now where I can actually catch myself when I start and bring myself back. Other ones, where I go into what I call blossoming, fawning, hypocrease, it takes a longer time to get back. Now, the other part of, or the opposite of that, is the hypervigilance. I used to say I was just very detail-oriented. I knew exactly what was going on around me. I was a good body reader, a tone expert. If something was out of place, I'm like, something is missing. Oh, that's missing. Or something's happening at work today. And they're like, no, there isn't. I'm like, oh, yes, there is. Somebody's walk is different. Their whole body structure is different. They're avoiding people. They're avoiding topics. And I'm like, why?
And you take it personally a lot of times.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like one of those things where, like, I will notice somebody in my sphere now, like at work or whatever, and they come in and I can be talking to them and they just feel like they feel different. And I don't know how to explain it other than that. It's their entire demeanor. There's something different about them, and I can tell. And then immediately it's, what's going on? What are they upset about? Did I do something wrong? And then there's shame, because I'm like, why am I so vain? It's not necessarily about me. It's a very vicious cycle of self-awareness and lack of self-awareness at the same time because of your hyper awareness.
Oh, yes. And it's true. There's like a certain vibe. Everybody has a certain vibe. And when I walk into a room, I'm usually like, oh, I'm not going over into that corner because I'm not getting a good vibe.
Yep.
Okay. Where do I go now? And it's true, because you'll like, and as you're talking to people, you'll pick up on the vibe. And then in your head, as you're having a conversation, or at least for me, I'm like, what did I just say that made this different? Was this what they were like when I first came in, or did it change while I was talking to them?
Yeah.
Right. And you're having a whole conversation in your head, and you're trying to problem solve it.
Yes. And then you
you'll
adjust
ask,
your own behavior.
yes.
And then they start like kind of looking at you funny because they're like, what's going on? Because you've
Yeah.
adjusted. It is.
And they're
It's
like,
a cycle.
no, everything's fine. Like, what's going on? You're like, and it gets very eggshelly. And you're kind of tiptoeing around this topic of like, how do I ask you? Maybe it's just me. Oh no, I'm just making matters worse. I want to get out of this.
I usually say, is everything okay? Are you good? Is there anything I need to know? And when a lot of times, they'll be like, oh, well, something happened or this happened or whatever. And they're like, no, I'm fine, because not everybody likes to talk about their own personal life, right? Or,
Yes.
not everybody wants, like, especially if I'm upset about something in that moment, I may not want to talk about it, even if it does not involve the person I'm speaking with. But if I know, I can tell that they're off, and then I ask them and they still are like, don't worry about it, there's nothing going on, then again, I will be vain and take it personally. And it's not
Of
vanity,
course.
it's literally fear.
Yes. Yeah. Being in the wrong, causing it.
Well, and especially because, like, if your complex PTSD is because of abuse, which typically it is, then you're looking at, there's a reason we read everybody's, we can read people's body language and things. And the reason why we have to be hyper vigilant about whether or not somebody is mad at us is because that's our go-to. That's what, if somebody was mad at us in the past,
Yeah. You
we
made
had
me
pain from it.
angry. You caused me to do this. You're like,
Yeah.
what? No. I don't want to do that.
Right. So if we can't, I just know when the person who caused mine, I was constantly having to apologize for everything, even when I didn't do anything wrong. So of course my hypervigilance is going to be, what did I do wrong? Even when I've done nothing wrong, because it's not necessarily that it's about me, but it's about them. But it seems vain because it's about me, but it's not about me. It's about them.
Yes.
Again,
Yes.
vicious cycle. Because, I've been in situations where I had to sit here and apologize for something that never even happened. So of course, if I perceive somebody is upset with me or upset in general, I'm going to wonder if it's me, because that's what's happened in my past.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. So we're going to go into the behavioral symptoms now. I just kind of want to give it like an idea of what this is and what it can look like. Okay, I'm missing one. That's 4. So with behavioral symptoms, you have avoidance, self-isolation, self-destructive behaviors, difficulty trusting others, irritability or aggression. Now, I can relate to these ones most definitely. So avoidance, staying away from people, places, or situations that remind you of your trauma. And that can be different ways. So it could be staying away from people who remind you of somebody in that relationship. It can be a geographical location. certain conversations. When you, and it's not just avoiding, but it is when you go out of your way to stay away from it. And the thought of being there or having it creates anxiety. Certain types of conversations, can't do it. Cannot do it. There's a certain location in my city. I will never go back to it until I had to choose between work and paying bills or having none. And for me, I was trying to, I'm past it. I'm going to beat it. It's not going to win. And I know for me, that was actually one of the main things that really spurred the rise of all my symptoms. It took me out. The second behavioral symptoms is self-isolation. So, as my friends have taught me, Rebecca, you taught me, turtling. The word turtling. I'm like, Rhonda, are you turtling? I'm like, no, I'm just self-isolating. Yeah, you're turtling. Because I'm drawing back in away from everybody. And even for the people that I feel safe with, I need to get away from them all. And then I start beating myself up because now I am going to be a burden to people. So I stay away from them. When in fact, what I really need is to actually have a conversation or be with those individuals. The third one is self-destructive behaviors. So you're engaging in substance abuse, reckless activities, self-harm. Now, one of the things I learned was when I first started on my journey, they're like, you're self-harming yourself. And I'm like, I am not self-harming myself. Self-harming is not necessarily physical. Yes, cutting, picking, those are pulling hair, those are self-harming. But self-harming is also setting yourself up for failure with the self-destructive actions.
Like sexual promiscuity.
Yes. Driving fast.
Alcohol
doing
abuse.
things you normally wouldn't do.
Mm-hmm. Knowing,
So,
like drinking and knowing and driving, knowing like.
or if you're not even a drinker and you start drinking and then you're trying to self-medicate because you want the symptoms gone.
Yep.
Going into areas in neighborhoods that are more dangerous. Going, well, if you're going to do it here.
I would say this is the Bella Swan effect. You know, when she, in Twilight, when they break up and she goes and starts riding motorcycles and getting on the car with stranger, or getting on the back of a motorcycle with a stranger and jumping into the water, all of that.
Oh yeah.
Tammy, thank you. I saw your comment.
Did I miss it?
She said,
Glad you noticed
I'm
it.
glad you're okay, Rebecca, physically. That's a lot of last minute decisions. And it
Yeah.
was, and I think that that's also part of the reason why it was PTSD, because I was under like incredible duress in a very short period of time.
Yeah. And it just seems to compile.
Yes. And
It's like, what else?
and then my mom was in the car with me. Yeah. Just yeah.
Yeah.
I was glad it wasn't my kids.
Oh, can't even imagine.
Anyway.
Difficulty trusting others. Now, this is a huge one for complex PTSD. Trust. Trust in others, trust in yourself, your intuition. You start debating it. And one of the things I have discovered is with complex PTSD, it really does have interpersonal challenges. Dealing with other people. And I would even say for me, I would include interpersonal, but intrapersonal relationship with myself. Because I'll start beating myself up and start like second guessing stuff, and and then something happens and it's like, oh man, why didn't I just listen to what I thought I had? I had it, but I didn't do it. Can I trust myself? And when you get into those sorts of moments, you start questioning yourself. I thought I had it. This is not working. And it also leads to the last behavioral symptom, which is irritability or aggression. This is where you're experiencing sudden outbursts of anger or frustrations. And it can be about the littlest things. It could be about how your sock keeps rolling on your foot when you wear it. Yeah, it might be trivial, but it's like, oh. So when we talk about, or when Rebecca was sharing with us about her accident, I'm like, with everything else going on in your life, Rebecca, you actually stayed calm and in control, where somebody else would have just flipped, would have just lost it. Which is coincidence. I actually watched a Robin Williams movie last night, The Angriest Man, about how everything he lost it on everything. But he was never that way. Like he wasn't always that way. Now, this is just my own thought. I'm curious what Rebecca thinks, is that irritability and aggression. Is there a correlation between having these outbursts now, where I have control, I'm out of that situation, because I couldn't when I was younger, and I couldn't have those. I couldn't be angry. Being mad was not allowed. So I'm curious, like, I'm still not good with anger, but when I'm low and I get heightened, it is so much easier just to snap.
I think that that's true for everybody, though. Like, when I don't get enough sleep and I don't eat at the right, like like if I haven't eaten and I haven't slept and I'm, under stress because I have a deadline for work or whatever, like those culminate together for anybody. I
True.
just think that sometimes maybe our response can be more easily triggered by something more, quote unquote, mundane than other people, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Like I'm trying to be curious about this right now, because as we're talking about it, my husband would always say, "Oh, you can handle most situations, but once I hit my limit, I'm done, and
Yeah.
it's a volcano." And I can't tell, because they're like, "Well, when you start to notice that you're getting up there, that's when you need to do this." I'm like, but I don't notice when I get to that point before I tip. It's like, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. I'm not fine. And then I scare everybody. And I get scared myself, and I get mad at myself for doing it.
That, I think, so I've experienced that myself. And it's a different type of burnout than what most people experience. And it does take, for me, I had to, because I was in situations where I literally had to face that experience over and over again. Eventually, I was able to discover how to have better management over it. But it has been through repeated exposure. Who wants to repeatedly expose themselves to trauma in order to better themselves in response to trauma? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not ideal. And so I think it's frustrating and it's upsetting, but it is normal, at least in my understanding and my experience.
Yeah. It also depends on what it is. If it is something that is completely against my beliefs and core values, oh, mm-mm, 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 don't even go there. My whole body just went, nope. Okay. So that's interesting. So now the third section in terms of symptoms is the cognitive and physical symptoms. So this one has 5. First one is negative self-perceptions. I'm going to do these individually because they're not going the way I was hoping for. So this is where it's not where you have a bad day and it's like, ugh, what were you thinking? Or a relationship you break up and go, I'm sad. What happened to our relationship? This is where, how would you describe this one, Rebecca? Negative self-perception.
It's even in the best of moments, you still feel like you're not good enough.
When something good comes, you feel very unworthy of it.
Yes.
That you feel like it's going to be snagged, taken from you.
Or that somebody's playing a trick on you.
Yeah. You feel broken.
Yeah, and you're looking around waiting for the other shoe to drop. You're waiting for things to fall apart. But it's like it's so much more than, I would say it's similar to negative self-esteem, but it's so much more than that.
You're not worthy of love.
Yeah.
You are the reject. You're the alien, and you don't belong anywhere.
And this is part of why that positive self-talk is so important. But also very hard to do.
It is. It is. The second cognitive and physical symptoms is difficulty concentrating. Now, we're not talking about when you're tired. It is having trouble focusing on tasks and conversations.
Yes. So to help understand that, there has been a link between people who are diagnosed with ADHD and CPTSD. And that's the lack of being able to focus is one of the symptoms. And they're not sure if people who have CPTSD are linked to ADHD, because people with CPTSD, like people who are neurodivergent or people who are disabled, tend to be victims more often than typical people, right? And so they're not sure if the correlation is because they're victimized because they were just like have ADHD and that's part of it, or if they develop ADHD because of the CPTSD.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious because I think that before I was very logical and I could keep track of certain things, but I also could pay attention and notice when somebody was an abstract thinker. And I'd be just like, oh, it's one of my superpowers. And then when I'm going through this journey, I get squirrel moments like you would not believe. Somebody will say something and I will make a connection to something else. And they're like, how in the world did you do that? It's like, well, because I thought of this and it came here and da da da. And you're like, okay, like we're off topic now completely.
I call that a derailed train. And it happens all the time. And sometimes I'll say, that train completely derailed because I can't find my way back onto the track. Or I'll say, but I derailed it, but I got it back on and we're still, chugging along.
We're chugging away.
Yep. So it depends. But I think your question is, so my part of me is also like, I think that there's a very strong possibility that it's because somebody has ADHD that they were selected by the person who abused them, right? Because they had something special about them. It is a superpower. There's like this ability to be able to see the world in such a very interesting and beautiful way when you have ADHD or if you're autistic, right? And so, because there are also correlations between, so I think I mentioned it in the first chat, there's a Venn diagram where all three of them kind of overlap.
Yes.
But I think it's because of that. And I say that because as somebody who I go back and I look back at my childhood and I'm like, oh, I had symptoms even then. I just didn't know what they were. And so I'm pretty positive that I have ADHD, and actually have questioned whether or not I'm on the spectrum. Um, One of the things I noticed is that I wore a lot of masks when I was younger to try to make myself more normalized to society. But after trauma, I have a harder time putting on that mask. And I think part of it
Yes.
is because the person who abused me also wore a mask. And so I feel guilt and shame putting the mask on.
Yeah,
And I think I correlate the mask with the abuse and not necessarily with trying to meet societal standards based on the neurodivergency.
yes, that's where I kind of see it. I have many masks. I'm very good at figuring out what mask I need to fit in. Because when I was younger, I could not. And in order to survive, you figure it out. Okay, I got that one there. Tammy says, I have terrible trust issues. It comes from as a child. Trusting my parents to make sure we have food and basic needs. I still have major trust issues. Yes. Yeah. Trust is huge, huge with me. And I will give, and it's kind of like respect too. I will give everybody a certain amount of respect, and then you need to earn the rest.
Hi, Momo. No problem. No worries.
And when you lose my trust or lose parts of my respect, it's like the spoons. I take your spoons away, I give you spoons. And when you're younger and you have to, we talked about parentizing. I'm going to have a hard time with this word. When you become the parent of the parent and of yourself, it becomes really hard to trust that other adults have your best interest and are able to provide for you. Oh, we know about this one, Rebecca.
I'm at nuts.
Sleep disturbances.
Yes.
Insomnia, nightmares, or restless sleep. Been
So
there, done that, have it, currently wear it.
Yep. I've had insomnia as long as I can remember.
See, I haven't had insomnia. But I will tell you, okay, this is me being very vulnerable. When I was a child, I would sleepwalk. And I was embarrassed about it, so I didn't say anything about it. I got lost on a Girl Guide trip in the woods. I woke up and I'm like, I have no idea where I am. But my mom had to put more locks on the front door and on the balcony because I would try and get out on the balcony and jump off the third floor to rescue people. And I know that has to do with my childhood. What I am currently going through right now, though, is not only do I sleepwalk, I have fallen downstairs, broken bones. I have eaten stuff I should not be eating to the point where my mouth guard was stuck in my mouth and I could not open my mouth because I had toffee in my mouth. and I was standing in front of a window when I woke up, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? So it really scares my family, because thank God I don't sleep drive and I don't leave the house per se. But it's like, okay, what did you get into last night? And like I said, it's usually stuff I should not be eating because I have a sensitivity to certain food items. And those are the items I go after. And I don't wake up usually when I'm doing it. I will take it back to bed. I will wake up in the morning and something will be stuck to me, or it will be all through the bed. And I'm like, oh, and it's so embarrassing. So embarrassing. You also, or I also have like the night terrors.
Yep.
And I will wake myself up by acting out my dreams. I have woken my husband up because I will be fighting somebody in my dream. And unfortunately, he's the one that receives it. So thank God I haven't really hurt him. I've pushed him out of bed. I've punched him. I'm like, oh, I am so sorry. I have thrown myself out of bed. That one was really quite weird. And I remember the dream. I was trying to get over a wall in a bank, and I was trying to save the animals and kids that were with me. And I literally threw myself onto the floor. And I mean, remember, I have a bed that has drawers underneath, so it's a high bed. And my husband's like, oh my God, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, fine. Back to sleep. I wake up and I got bruises. I'm like, ow. That one hurt.
Thank you to everybody who's joined in the last several minutes.
Oh, hello. Now, Tammy, I have severe insomnia, and then I get up and be so tired. Yeah. I have a hard time falling asleep. And I tend to wake up in the middle of the night at the exact same time.
Between 2 and 3 a.m. for me.
Yeah.
And I cannot go back to sleep.
I'm just like, this really sucks.
Yep.
Now, one of the other things I've noticed in terms of sleeping is my husband is a night owl. And before, it never used to bother me. But in the last year, in the last couple of months, I will go to bed and I will wake up with a start and I will look for him. And if he's not in bed, I go downstairs to find him. And I tend to go into the kitchen and eat. And I'm like, Rhonda, you don't need this. But the times when I do sleepwalk and eat, where I actually wake up, I'm in the midst of shoveling food in my mouth. Just shoveling food. And I know that has to do with childhood trauma. We grew up very, very impoverished, where we didn't know what we were going to have to eat. So it was quite common if you had a ketchup sandwich or an onion sandwich, because that's what you had. But yeah, I'm finding, like, when I do wake up, I literally am in there. I'm like, stop. But my body's just going for it. I'm like, oh. And I will wake up the next day and I feel completely awful.
Yeah. So Have you ever had recurring night terrors?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so I did too. I mean, I have nightmares all the time. Like I have bad dreams all the time. Night terrors are a little bit more few and infrequent because I learned how to combat them thanks to a therapist when I was little. So I had recurring night terrors that just we really didn't know how to deal with. And she actually had me draw them on a piece of paper. And then she had me put that drawing, into a kitchen drawer. It was supposed to be any drawer. I think my mom chose the kitchen. I don't know why. And it was like I was supposed to visualize locking it away in that drawer so that it could no longer be in my brain. So if you're having if you have one specifically that like comes back periodically or that you have for several months in a row, I highly recommend that method. Because visualization, for people is hard,
Yeah.
but that particular thing, it's not something you have to visualize. You literally can see it. And so I definitely wanted to bring this up because I know we've had conversations about visualization issues in the past. So being able to see the drawing, be locked into the drawer, and knowing you're telling your brain, like, see, it's in that drawer. It is no longer in my brain. This is no longer going to bother me. It is going away. That's it.
Okay, so thank you. And I'm just going to acknowledge to my littles that sounds like a really scary, uncomfortable thing to even try.
Oh, absolutely. But it's you just have to draw one scene. And so if you're already reliving it, it's kind of like, I might as well do this one more time so that I can do my absolute best to lock it away forever and never have to repeat this incident. And then if you have somebody that you trust, a trusted loved one, then eventually when you're not paying attention, and make sure you put it in a drawer, a safe place that you don't look regularly, then at some point your significant other or family member or somebody, best friend, whoever, can eventually remove it so that you don't accidentally come across it in your future.
Okay, so that was my fear. That was my fear. Like, what happens if I open that drawer and it's there? And then my brain goes, see, it didn't work because you saw it again.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's a good point.
You don't want it to still be there. You don't want it to still linger, but once it's locked away, that it belongs to the drawer. It belongs to that space. It no longer belongs to you. And then whoever takes it from there, what they do with it is up to them. And if you don't want to do that, I have two other ways that you can do this. One of them I don't recommend because I guess you could draw on toilet paper. So my other recommendation is drawing on toilet paper and then like putting it in the toilet and going to the bathroom. And I'm not talking about peeing, going to the bathroom and then flushing it away.
See, because as soon as you said it, I was like, flush it. That's exactly where my brain went. And I like the idea with the number 2, because that is definitely that kind of stuff, and you can let it go.
And the other one is to burn it, like to have kind of like a ceremony.
Yeah.
And to burn it. But I mean, it all depends on, like, some people may need to do all 3 in order for one of them to work. I don't know. You kind of have to guess which one is going to be best for you. And kind of go with that. Some people are super uncomfortable with the idea of the going to the bathroom on it.
Yeah.
But I actually think it's a really good, funny representation. Like,
Well, okay. I'm going to say it. It was shit, and you're going to flush the shit away.
Yep.
There, I said it. One of the other, an additional piece I'm going to just state out is if you don't feel comfortable with doing it, that's okay.
Absolutely.
Right? Don't force yourself to do something where your body and your brain is going, like, logically, you're like, okay, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And your body is like, hell no, stay away, because there's other parts of trauma that are associated with it. I would guess that hasn't been managed yet.
Yep. Oh, Tammy, I'm like, piss on you.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
And my brain was going, you don't got shit on me. Instead, it's shit on you.
Exactly. Hey, Momo. Diamonds around the world. Mutz is here. Yay. Oh, yeah. Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, you guys are where you need to be. There is no need to worry about that. Tammy says, yeah, okay. Da, 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 da. Mutz, I have times I go 24 to 48 hours no sleep. Been that way from time I was 16 years old. Ooh. Yeah, that I know some people are like that too. If I'm not mistaken, borderline is like that as well. Borderline personality, where they have their highs and their lows, and they get like hyper energetic, and they go for days, and then they crash.
See, or you could be like me, where you don't have hyper energy and you just have random days as a 45-year-old where you just don't get any sleep and you're walking around like a zombie because you've had no sleep for a couple days. And it's like the more tired I am, the less sleep I get, and I just can't get into the cycle.
Yes.
And I do all of the techniques, and I don't drink any caffeine. And so doctors are always like, well, cut out caffeine. I did 15 years ago. What are you talking about?
Yeah. My husband is, I don't get that, but my husband, there's times he's just like, I can't sleep. No, can't sleep. I'm like, oh man, that sucks.
Yep. And the more I can't sleep, the more I can't sleep.
Yeah. Now, my son, oh my gosh, we would go over and see my sister. And I'd be like, we have to go home. Eric's tired. And she's like, no, he isn't. He's running around. He's happy. He's like energetic. I'm like, no, you don't understand. When he gets tired, he gets energetic.
Oh, yeah. Slap happy.
As a 2-year-old, I'm like, no, thank you. Because he gets up at like 6 o'clock in the morning. Well, he'll sleep in. No, he won't. I'm like, we need to go now. Momo. Rod, I just want to thank you for sharing your experience. I know it has really helped many understand CPTSD. That's the whole point of this, is both Rebecca and I have been diagnosed with complex PTSD, and it's not well known. We're trying to just get that awareness out. Tammy says, my daughter as a child, had night terrors really bad. It scared me so bad I wouldn't sleep. Yes, yes. She tried to get out the front door, fight with whomever. I was told, just let her go through them, but watch. So similar to night sleepwalking, do not wake them up. You won't kill them if you try. It just gently guide them, or just have a gentle conversation about it. When Vanessa was really little, she's only done it once. She got up in the middle of the night, and Glenn and I were sitting there, And she walked out of her bedroom and she stood there and she looked at us. And I just asked her, like, hi, what are you looking for? Water. I'm like, okay, we'll just go in the kitchen, have a drink of water, and you can go back to bed. And that's exactly what she did. And Glenn's like, I said, I turned to Glenn, I said, she's sleepwalking. He goes, no, she's not. Her eyes are open. I'm like, okay, you don't have to be eyes closed to sleepwalk, but her eyes are glazed. She's sleepwalking. And when I sleepwalk, if Glenn tries to wake me up, he's learned not to. But if he tries to gently guide me, I become a biatch. And I will fight with him. I will get downright determined. I am not doing it. And he's like, it's like you're another person. It's not you. And I'm like, just keep an eye on me. Let me do what I need to do. Yes, I'm working on trying to manage this. I just came across the thinking of piss on you. Tammy says, my sister goes without sleep for 3 days. She has mental difficulties. Mm-hmm. Yes, I thank you. I understand some things about my sister. Yeah. Tammy also says, I was told night terrors will lead to sleepwalking. That I do not know. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know about that either.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm going to have to look into that one. Thank you for sharing. So the fourth cognitive and physical symptom is chronic fatigue. And that makes total sense because of all the things a person with complex PTSD is going through. You are constantly going through, you are constantly trying to manage, you are using a lot of energy, and all energy, mental, physical, emotional. That was one of the things I had a real challenge with accepting. That took a lot of radical acceptance for me. Because I'm like, I'm not doing anything. And they're like, but you are. What am I doing? Well, you're working on recovery. Well, that's different. I'm like, no, it's actually really hard work. Feeling exhausted despite resting. So you could get like 12 hours sleep and then still be tired. So earlier in tonight, I made the comment about how I've been able to get to the point in my life where I can do like a good 3 hours of concentration, focus, motivation, and then I'm done. I am laying in bed with the lights off, curtains drawn, door closed. I'm not sleeping because I'm not tired, but I'm exhausted. And I have to stay there for a good 4 hours to get to a point where it's like, okay, I think I have energy to get myself out of this bed now. Okay, I think I can actually have a thought. And if that occurs, it's okay. It's okay. Now, the fifth one under cognitive and physical symptoms is physical symptoms. Unexplained headaches, digestive issues, muscle tension, clenching teeth, clenching jaw, breaking teeth, even if they're capped, you break them because you're clenching. Headaches because of the shoulder muscles, you're all tense.
When I was little, every single night I would wake up. Part of the night terrors, I would also, when it wasn't always related to the night terrors, but along with that, I would wake up in the middle of the night and get sick.
Yep.
And it has always been my entire life that I internalize everything that happens. And so typically, if I'm under duress or stress, I end up sick.
Oh, yeah. Constipation. And they've actually done some correlations with, because your body keeps the score, your body remembers. And as society, we have taught ourselves that after we get a scare or a shock or fear, we just kind of suck it up and move on.
Yep.
Whereas in the olden days, I guess you could say olden days, or if you look at animals, when they get that, they will actually shake it out of their system. If you think of a dog, they literally shake it out. So yeah, like when a dog gets really, really anxious or is happy, and then they stop, and then they do like the shake, and it goes from their head all the way down to the tip of their tail. And it releases it from their body, from their muscles. Now, there are techniques where you can do that. And at the moment, I cannot think of what it's called. TRE? TRE? Now I'm going to look that up.
So I think part of it is allowing yourself to feel the emotions in the emotion, right?
And I have a hard time with that.
So like...
TRE is the stress release exercises, tension, stress, and trauma release.
Okay. So like on Saturday when I was in that car accident, I told my mom that I wanted to pull over to assess the damage, and I did. I wanted to pull over and assess the damage, but I also wanted to pull over so I could process the emotions of what just happened.
Yeah.
And so I stood there for a minute, looked at my car, had a little cry, and then I was like, okay, we could move on. Like, I didn't want to drive half an hour to the next town over to go to the theater while I was still upset. And I was able to I kind of shook my shoulders out and allowed myself to cry, rolled my shoulders back, and then got in the car and was better. I still obviously was dealing with the emotions of it even later, but it was not to the same degree, I guess.
That would be, you're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. You gave yourself validation and self-care compassion, even though it wasn't a full, complete processing.
Yeah.
Which is huge. Because there would have been a lot of people that would have just been like, you know what, just keep going. Just keep going. So I want to congratulate you on that. That is huge.
Thank you.
So when you talk about digestive issues, that can be irritable bowel syndrome. It could be a one-off constipation. It could be you're fine, and then all of a sudden it just comes on out of the blue. Speaking from experience. So after everything that I everything I experienced on the Friday with my brother unexpectedly showing up, and then spending dinner with them on Sunday at my daughter's house, I had to get up and go out into the backyard and pull weeds. And then once I started to calm down, my whole digestive system went gurgle, gurgle, gurgle. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, definitely been there, done that.
And okay, so one, I was like, oh my God, I have to get in the house and I have to do this like casually, not to draw attention. However, once you, and this is what I've learned about myself, is when I am all tense and stressed, everything goes towards my internal organs for survival. Once I can start to relax, that's when you'll get your digestive stuff occurring. You'll burp, your stomach will gurgle, you'll let wind go. And you're like, ooh. So if you're in a therapy session and you finally relax and your tummy gurgles, you're on the right track. Okay, that was a pun not intended. Because I remember being in one of my sessions and my tummy like growled. I was like, oh, I am so sorry. She's like, no, congratulations. You finally relaxed. I'm like, what? She's like, no, that's true. It worked. I'm like, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because you just kind of like, so, it was very interesting on Sunday because I literally wasn't thinking that. And then it happened and I was like, okay, it wasn't because of something I ate, but I know I've been just like, ugh. Same as water. So when you're tense, you're not usually thinking about hydrating or anything like that because it's not one of your prime things you need to think about. When you get to a point where it's like, oh, I'm thirsty, or I have to use the washroom, you're expanding, you're relaxing. So very interesting. So if my tummy gurgles, we're all good. TMI. So those are 17 symptoms for individuals that are dealing with complex PTSD. And they can happen at any time. That was a lot we covered tonight.
It was.
Wow. I would like to say, though, that if you are dealing with complex PTSD, it is challenging, and you're not alone. You're never alone. It may feel like it at sometimes. I know it feels like that for me at times too, and I know there's people I can talk to, but it's like, and if you just need to get up and wiggle your butt and pull your shoulders, go for it. So I have made some progress on this little square. I am getting better at actually talking and diamond painting. Hey. Oh.
I had a good section of color blocking, so I was able to get my square done here.
Nice. Ooh, Tammy has a question. Can you have some symptoms but not others?
Absolutely.
You don't have to have them all. It's not like you have to have 16 out of, or what did it say? 10 out of the 17 means you have this. 15 out of the 17 means you have this. You will find ways, and your symptoms may be slightly different depending on what you've gone through.
Yeah, because
Like,
like
I don't
some
have.
symptoms, like if you didn't have, it depends on the trauma that you endured. Not
Yeah.
specifically you, I'm just saying in general, the trauma that somebody would endure would it impact the symptoms that would be the most prevalent for them.
Yes. Yeah, it depends. I think it also depends, from my experience, where you are in your journey.
There are, I mean, according to psychology, to get a PTSD diagnosis, you do have to have certain symptoms.
Yeah.
And for right now, complex PTSD is diagnosed the same way.
Yes.
So if you want
So
to know
in
what
the
that is,
DMS, go ahead. Did I lose you? No, I think I lost her. What I was going to say is currently in the DSM that North America uses for diagnosis, complex PTSD is not a diagnosis in of itself and separate from PTSD. While you will have therapists that agree that complex PTSD does exist, they have to give you a PTSD, major depression, and other ones as well for it. Now, the ICD, the International Non-North American, does recognize it as its own diagnosis. And that's part of the reason why having these kind of open questions, open conversations is important. Oh, her device died. It's okay. It's okay. No worries. And I know for myself, before 2016, I had some of these symptoms at certain times, but not all of them all the time. Guess I bumped the plug at some point and came unplugged. Oh no. Oh no. And I know I did a lot of avoidance of certain things. But I also had mechanisms where I just managed. And even before 2016, I would get the occasional nightmare, the occasional sleepwalk. In my hypervigilance, I always called it as I'm just very detail oriented. I'm very observant. But I also I did not think, as I mentioned in previous weeks, that I had PTSD, because I wasn't a frontline worker. I wasn't hospital, police, fireman. I wasn't in a war-torn country. People had it worse off than I did. It was a natural disaster. It also does not discriminate. You can be from any walk of life at any time. Well, thank you, Rebecca, Sparkle Sanctuary, for coming on tonight. I am seeing that we are almost at like the 2-hour mark. Oh my goodness. But I think we had a really, really good conversation. We covered a whole lot of stuff. We are going to come back next Tuesday to wrap up. We aren't going to go on the last Tuesday of September because Rebecca has a family engagement. I may pop on if anybody would like that. I have been trying to get it to restart, and it's taking its sweet time turning back on. Right? Happens. And you know, it's funny because as you were talking, I just realized I had something on the back of my arm because I was doing something else earlier. Tammy says, it was great, Rhonda and Rebecca. Thank you. You are very welcome. If you guys have any questions, any thoughts, any recommendations, techniques, or tips, by all means, put them in the hashtag replay after the video in YouTube, and we will definitely share that out. Please check out Sparkle Sanctuary. She made the 500. Yay! And thank you for coming and having a conversation, Rebecca. Sparkle Sanctuary and I normally do a mental health musings, at least a monthly one. That will be coming back up. Mutt says, night all, off to take a nap, then a late night diamond painting session while I will not be live Thursday this week. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah. I will be going live tomorrow night to show you how I'm making out with the loom, the beading loom. I've got something to show you. And something came in. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you for being you. If you have not already, please do hit the like button. Hit subscription notifications if you haven't already. And if you have, thank you so much. I will see you guys all tomorrow night. And Rebecca, Sparkle Sanctuary, and I will see you next week as we wrap up our conversations about complex PTSD for the month. If at any time you want to talk, let me know and we can do that again. Okay, guys. Bye. Night, Rebecca.